road to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today, Deb Bisel takes us on a tour of the Dillon House, featuring early pictures of the property, the work-in-progress pictures of this historical renovation, and what this beautiful house looks like today. Next, we learn about this week's From the Land of Kansas business, and then we'll finish up with a story about the Greenfield Opera House and its unique cast-iron facade. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Around Kansas, brought to you by Tarwater Farm and Home. Come on by, we'll treat you like family. Good morning, I'm Frank Chafin.
I'm Deb Bisel.
And we're going to pump you up. Oh no, that's another show. Hey, good morning. This is Around Kansas, and well, we're going to kind of talk to you about some things that we're going to do here on Around Kansas in our new show.
And we're coming to you from the Dillon House this morning. This is our new home away from home, if you will. So we're just thrilled to be in this beautiful location, and we're going to tell you a lot more about it.
Now, Deb, of course, is an historian and published author, and most of her stories are about historical figures, historical places around the state. Kind of elaborate on that.
Well, if you were dead, I would find you so much more interesting. That's pretty much how it goes. So, yeah. So I talk a lot about dead people. And I live in a cemetery, too.
Well, and I've been in entertainment all my life. So what I do is stories about people and places and things. I'm doing a tour of opera houses around the state of Kansas. You know, the state of Kansas has a great, great heritage of actors, writers, musicians, and so that's kind of the thing that I like to do.
I think you're stepping on my toes there, Frank.
Well,
I really like the opera houses, and you know I love music, and so I really think we got to draw some boundaries here, yeah, stay in your lane, Frank.
Oh, okay. Well, I've done a couple of historical things, and I of course didn't check with her, but I guess in the future I'm going to have to.
And Frank also, of course, has Ren Radio resurrected. That's really cool, Frank.
Well, thank you. Yes, Ren Radio, of course, has an 87-year history in the state of Kansas, and we resurrected it on the internet 4 years ago, and our audience just continues to grow. It's renradio.net, so tune in.
It's amazing. Listeners, I mean, thousands and thousands. And so I know that I pop in every now and then. The studio is actually over in Noto, the arts district in Topeka. And I pop in, and Les or you'll be on the air and tell me how many numbers you guys are getting. And it's staggering. Yeah. And the fans who are calling in, making requests, it's going really well.
It is. Thank you for the plug.
Hey.
And in fact, in the spring, there's going to be a History Geeks tour of the Noto Arts District, and we're hosting that around Kansas and Ren Radio.
Hey, and if you're around Kansas and you don't get to be part of the History Geeks, you just let me and Frank know. We'll give you a tour of anything you want to see, whether it's in Topeka, whether it's around the state. In fact, I'm doing a tour up at Fort Leavenworth on April 8th with one of the retirement homes. So, yeah, nothing we love more than showing off Kansas.
And the reason we're doing the show is because the state of Kansas really does have a lot of interesting people and places. And even people in Kansas aren't aware of that. So hopefully we're going to let you know about those fun places to go, day trips and things like that.
Well, you know, I'm a transplant, so I am a real cheerleader for all that incredible stuff around Kansas. And I see it with fresh eyes, so that's really helpful. Some of the things that you may not have noticed along the way, we're going to share those with you.
Yeah, so we'll see you somewhere.
Around Kansas.
Around Kansas.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it it takes to give my crops the upper hand. And I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
It's time, the Great Bend Farm and Ranch Expo, April 8th, 9th, and 10th in Great Bend, Kansas. Working cattle dog demos sponsored by Farmers Bank and Trust, all 3 days. K-State speakers, over 80 acres of exhibits, cutting-edge technology. Find all of your livestock equipment needs here. That's the Great Bend Farm and Ranch Expo, April 8th, 9th, and 10th. Go to starexpos.net for more information. Corporate sponsors American Hat Company, Great Bend Co-op, and KSN.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road.
Welcome to Around Kansas from the historic Dillon House in downtown Topeka, just right across from the Capitol. And with me is Michael Langfit, who is president of the Dillon House Events, LLC. And I can't imagine a better place to have an event than right here, Michael. This is gorgeous.
Thank you. We're happy to have you. We're glad it's finally done and you can be here.
Well, it has been an incredible project. So we're going to take our viewers all the way through the house today. So we'll show them a little bit of everything. And we're just thrilled that the Dillon House is going to be our base of operations for Around Kansas from now on. So this is, we're going to call it home. And we want to start, I guess, with the history of the Dillon House, you know, when it was built and, you know, what the property was initially.
Sure. Well, initially on this land there was another house. In 1907, Hiram and Susie Dillon moved to Topeka from New York, and they bought a house about 6 blocks south of here on Harrison. As they became more and more involved with the community, they realized that they had a lot of friends that were political. Now, they weren't political themselves, but they wanted a place to entertain their friends. So they decided to build this home on this spot as it became available in a very ornate and grand scale. It's an Italian Renaissance style. They started it in 1911. They moved in sometime in spring of 1914, and it is built in the craftsmanship that really just doesn't exist in a lot of places anymore.
Oh, absolutely. And when you talk about this home was built for entertaining, it still is, and in your remodel or restoration, I don't even know the right word for what you've accomplished here, you have stayed true to that footprint.
Thank you. It's called a historic renovation. We don't bring it back to exact duplicate details, museum quality, but we stay very true to the historic elements. We preserve the historic elements and identify them as best we can, but there were some historic elements that were removed through different owners throughout time. We have gone to great strides to replace those or put back what it might have looked like so that customers, guests, visitors can come in and see what it was like to live in an elegant mansion of this size before World War I.
Now, who actually owns the house now?
The house is currently owned by Dillon House Incorporated, or Dillon House LLC, which is owned by Pioneer Group Incorporated, owned by Ross Freeman and his family.
So there are business offices here and space to rent for the public, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Because historic restoration and renovation is what we do as a part of our business, we decided to create basically a showplace for what work we do. Our offices will actually be located on the 2nd and 3rd floor, but the 1st floor is being kept open for public rental venue. The Dillons were very much into entertaining, and that's what we've returned the 1st floor to, is allowing the public of Kansas and non-Kansans from around the world to be entertained yet again.
Well, I just can't wait to attend my first party here, and I know that there's so many people out there that are going to want to do the same thing. Stay with us. We're going to show you a little more of the Dillon House when we come back.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe. Here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
I'm visiting this morning with Michael Langfit, who is the president of the Dillon House LLC and in charge of this lovely space all around us. Now, Michael, when this house was purchased, what were you facing? What kind of shape was it in then?
We are the fifth owner to own the Dillon House. It had experienced quite a bit of challenge, stress. The last owner was the state of Kansas. They used the house very actively for many of the years that they owned it, particularly the first floor. Back in the late 80s, there was a fire in the roof, and while the fire damage itself didn't cause a lot of damage, putting out the fire did some very unfriendly things to the house. Mm-hmm. So what we were looking at was a house that had been basically maybe not ideally cared for a number of years. So we had to replace much of, well, let's put it this way. There's not a single square inch in the house that we haven't touched. Floors, walls, or ceiling.
Well, it shows.
Thank you.
Now, this was owned by an insurance company for a while?
In 1940, American Home Life Insurance bought the house and converted the house to their offices. And they did some things to modify the house to make it more suitable for their office. You have to remember, at that point in time, it was a 30-year-old house. It wasn't a 100-year-old house like it is now.
Right.
So they made it useful for them, taking away what we now would call many of the historic elements. So we've tried to replicate what those might have looked like.
Now, one of the things that they did, if I remember correctly, is take off the sun porches on the east side of the home.
Yeah. There was an open-air pergola, two-story, that had a beautiful lattice work, stone columns on the first floor and stone Hermes on the second floor. We have removed the building that they put there and replaced it with a fully enclosed glass structure so we can actually use the space, but it looks very much like the open-air pergola that it did before, both the first floor and the second floor.
And got a little more useful space there too.
Quite a bit.
Plus that opened up that light, which was original. The light in this house is really amazing. The windows are just gorgeous, and of course behind us we've got these beautiful stained glass windows. Now the stained glass that is here, that's original, correct?
Yes, it is, yes. The Dillon family were patrons of the arts. We understand that they had collected most of this artwork in stained glass on their travels, and then had the windows custom made. The miracle of the stained glass behind us, it's actually Alfred Lord Tennyson's story of Lancelot and Guinevere told in stained glass. The miracle is that it's been there for 104 years and has never been broken and has never been protected until earlier this week. It is now protected.
Oh, thank goodness, because it's just stunning. And then there's stained glass in the library as well, and that library is just every book lover's dream, like myself. And I think you said originally there was leather on the walls of the library?
In the library, they originally had like a sage green tumbled leather on the wall. So what we did was we replicated that look with a paint process to give it the same look and feel of that they would have had in 1911 when they built the house.
And at not nearly the cost, I'm sure, of covering with leather.
Well, we wanted to do it justice, but we also had to make certain that it could be viable.
I'm sure. Well, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to the historic Dillon House in downtown Topeka. Now, Michael, I got to observe a lot of the work that was going on here. How many artisans and carpenters and all other craftsmen did you have to have working on this house?
There were over 300 talented artisans and craftspeople that worked on this house.
Wow. Wow.
And to be very candid with you, the talent that they have doesn't exist just anywhere. So our general contractor, who has worked with us for a number of years, has built an amazing collection of the most talented people possible. They know how to treat and how to respect a historic structure such as this.
Well, it was really amazing to walk through while they were working, and it was obvious that they knew what they were doing and they were really into it. And I was just talking about the coffered, is that the right word for the
coffered ceiling? Yes.
Coffered ceiling in the dining room. And I was in here when they were staining that. There must be 9 miles of trim in there. I mean, it's trim on trim on trim, and staining that, holy cow.
Well, that's an amazing story. The carpenters that put that up there, I was complimenting them one day on their work, and they said, "You don't understand. Mostly we work with not the very best wood there is. Everything that has been put back in this house is top of the line. That is all quarter-sawn white oak, which normal carpenters don't work with on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
In one of the beams that wraps one of the dividing walls, there are over 40 individual pieces of wood to create that beam. It's truly a work of art. All of the craftspeople looked at it as creating their own version of their own Mona Lisa.
So they were pretty thrilled to have the opportunity.
They were honored and thrilled, yes.
Well, it's just a stunning work, and I'm just thrilled to that we can be here on a regular basis. I mean, these gorgeous fireplaces. I mean, there's just so much beautiful stuff here. You must be thrilled to have an office here.
I feel very blessed, yes. Yes, I do. It's not just an office. It has kind of become my second home. Not just because there's been a lot of hours here, but because the place grows on you.
Sure.
It is, when we first took it over, we all kind of looked at each other like, okay, here we go. And there were many times that we said, okay, what have we gotten ourselves into? But the end result is, it's mind-boggling.
It truly is, and it just speaks, I think, to the heart of our capital city to have this right next to the Capitol for so many events and functions, and it's just it's a treasure. It's just an absolute treasure.
Well,
kudos to everybody involved.
Well, as you know, the Capitol did a little renovation of their own, so we decided it was only fair that we try to keep our end of the neighborhood.
I think that's exactly appropriate, and we were just talking about that the other day, about the Capitol restoration, and then with this coming along. So, Michael, if the public, if anybody out there would like to rent this gorgeous space, have an event here, how can they do that?
Very simple. 2 things. Email us at info@dillonhouse.com, that's DILLON house.com, or go to the website, www.dillonhouse.com, and you can look all the information. We respond very quickly, and we are on a first-come, first-served basis, and we're already booking events out into 2017, so come and get it while we still have it.
That's fantastic. And you guys have a Facebook page?
We do.
Okay.
That is dillonhouse.16 on Facebook. We try to update pictures and events coming up there. We held our first event Saturday night. It was a wedding reception, and it was, let's just say that the Dillon House has not seen that kind of entertainment in a number of years.
Well, it was a house created for that, so it's got to just come alive.
It seemed to.
It's got to come alive. And folks, we're just so thrilled that Around Kansas is going to be coming to you from the Dillon House every week. So be sure and watch for us every Wednesday morning, and maybe we'll just find a new corner to shoot in every time. We'll see you.
Thanks, Deb.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Many farmers markets statewide are from the Land of Kansas members. They are on the front line delivering fresh produce, homemade delicacies, and unique handmade items. Today, let's catch up with the Emporia Farmers Market. From May to October, this market is available outside, located in the parking lot at 7th and Merchant. From November to April, it moves indoors to the Emporia Humanitarian Center at 215 West 6th Avenue. The mission of the Emporia Farmers Market is to enhance community health via locally grown, fresh agricultural and related products and information. A 30-year-old organization, the Emporia Farmers Market is a project of the Learning Connection of the Flint Hills. All vendors must grow, bake, or make the products they sell themselves. To find out more, visit www.emporiafarmersmarket.org.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Good morning, I'm Frank Chafin, and this is Around Kansas. This is the show where we let you know why Kansas is a great place to live and work and play and visit. And as you know, we're kind of taking a tour of the opera houses around the state of Kansas. Because as you know, Kansas has a couple of railroads or so running through it. Well, as the railroads moved on west, towns popped up along the way. And many of those towns built opera houses. The one we're going to tell you about today, and if you don't mind, I'm going to use notes because I don't have that great a memory. Anyway, the opera house we're going to talk to you about today is the Greenfield Opera House, which is in Greenfield, which is in Gove County. Greenfield was established in 1879. It's got its name from a wheat field that was near the site of the founding of the town. And so the railroad, of course, came and then went on through, and the town was established, and they built, of course, a school and a church and a bank, and then an opera house. The opera house construction began in 1887, and it was completed in 1888, and then somebody moved into it. And the first tenant in the new opera house in Greenfield was the Cap Sheaf newspaper. Yes, Cap Sheaf newspaper. Now, the Greenfield Opera House is a little bit different. It's a 3-story structure and had businesses in it, as well as it being a meeting place and a place for, of course, the musical groups and theatrical groups and all of that were touring the country would come and do performances. Anyway, the Greenfield Opera House is on the historic register. And the reason is because of its rather unique architecture. It is one of the 2 opera houses still standing with ornate cast iron and galvanized fronts made by the Mesker brothers. Now, who are the Mesker brothers? They were a company in St. Louis that built storefronts and actually cast iron fronts and for opera houses and other structures. Well, the Mesker brothers have done the facade for the Greenfield Opera House, and therefore it qualifies to be on the historic structures. It is one of them that did not get torn down. That's the problem with a lot of the opera houses around the state, is that a lot of them simply got torn down. This one, though, is under reconstruction and renovation, as some of the others are in the state of Kansas. So, the next time you're around in Gove County and you go through Greenfield, be sure to stop off and take a look at the Greenfield Opera House. It's another great place for you to visit around Kansas. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
This is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's